My boyfriend had a group of 3 guys and 1 girl. Before introducing me to them, he gave me a serious warning. If you dare bully that girl, we're breaking up. Immediately, I nodded obediently, but inside I was thrilled. Stealing the spotlight from the group's princess. That's exactly what girls like me do best. After being confronted by Emily about swimming, I looked hurt. About to explain when Ryan and James both spoke at once. Sarah's leg cramped. She didn't mean it. Emily, don't talk to her like that. Physical contact is normal when teaching someone to swim. Emily, you and Derek have been all over each other. And Sarah didn't say anything. The moment they spoke, the air went still. Emily's eyes turned red with disbelief. You're yelling at me because of Sarah? After their words came out, James and Ryan both looked stunned. He seemed confused about why they defended me. Hearing Emily's tearful voice, both guys immediately looked regretful. James frantically apologized, grabbing Emily's hand and hitting himself with it. I'm sorry, Emily. I wasn't yelling at you. Hit me if it makes you feel better. Ryan gently wiped the tears from Emily's face. Emily, don't cry. Derek's face had been dark the entire time. He couldn't help but say sarcastically, people who don't know better would think Sarah's your girlfriend. I'm her actual boyfriend, and I'm not even this worked up. Ryan shut his mouth guiltily. James raised his voice defensively. What girlfriend? I only want Emily. I don't want any girlfriend. The two of them spent forever comforting Emily, before she finally stopped crying. Just when I thought Emily would calm down, she suddenly looked at me. The moment our eyes met, my expert radar went off. Sarah, I thought we could be friends, but you're just like all the others. The first thing you did after joining this group was try to turn the 4 of us against each other. But you're better than them. This is the first time they've ever been mean to me, because of an outsider. Emily's voice was full of sadness. Why? We're both girls. Why can't we just get along? Why do you have to compete with me? With Emily's words, could clearly feel Ryan's gaze turn cold and distant again. James went back to the unexplained hostility he'd had when we first met. Derek's face darkened. Sarah, did you do this on purpose? I thought to myself, well, talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Wasn't Emily the one who'd been competing this whole time? No wonder this group had such a terrible reputation. Derek, James and Ryan were all pretty good looking, but girls at school avoided them like the plague. With a manipulative childhood friend like Emily, Derek's ex-girlfriends must have had it rough. But now they'd met me. I was going to teach her a lesson. I blinked, tears welling up in my eyes. I'm sorry, Emily. Derek went to teach you to swim. And I was bored, so I asked James and Ryan to help me. I thought we were already friends. I didn't realize you never considered me part of the group. I was being presumptuous. I lowered my head, tears glistening in my eyes. I bit my lip until it turned pale, struggling to hold back my tears as I said to Derek, let's break up. Derek's eyes widened. His face showed a flash of irritation. If you didn't mean it, then forget it. It's not that big a deal. When did I say I wanted to break up? Don't overthink it. Emily's always encouraging us to get girlfriends. She definitely wants to be your friend. James and Ryan awkwardly tried to convince me too. Yeah, Emily was just talking. She really wants to hang out with girls. Emily stood there frozen, forced to put on a smile. She grabbed my hand and shook it, her expression sweet and innocent. Sarah, what are you talking about? Of course I want to be your friend. That's why I was so hurt. I'm just glad you weren't trying to drive a wedge between the 4 of us. Derek frowned slightly, vaguely sensing something odd about Emily's words, but he quickly pushed the feeling aside and reached out to put his arm around my shoulder. Don't you want to learn to swim? I'll teach you myself. James and Ryan can teach Emily today. But I stepped aside, avoiding Derek. My voice was tearful but firm. No. I want to break up with you. Derek was clearly stunned. Why? Emily's eyes flickered as she urgently asked me. Sarah, you really do mind that I exist, don't you? Her sad gaze swept over the 3 guys. It's all because of me that you can't keep girlfriends, Derek. Don't worry about me. Focus on your girlfriend. Seeing Emily look so hurt and wronged, Derek got angry. Sarah, are you really breaking up with me because of Emily? I warned you from the start. Emily holds the highest place in my heart. I interrupted Derek's anger. No, I want to break up because of you. My gut tells me Emily hasn't really accepted me and James and Ryan. They're even hostile toward me. I turned to look at James and Ryan. Both guys awkwardly looked away when I called them out. I continued. Because I like you and don't want to put you in a difficult position. I'm choosing to break up when Emily and the others truly accept me. I'll come back with those words. I turned and left, committing to the act. I went back to my dorm and deleted all of Derek's contact information. I saw the 4 of them again half a month later at a mixer event. The senior organizing it grinned mischievously. Since everyone's here to find someone, let's make it exciting. How about we play King's game? Just remember, no getting mad if you're chosen. If you don't want to do the task, you can drink instead. I smiled and agreed, not even glancing in Derek's direction. Though I could feel several intense stares on me, I pretended not to notice. The game began. The king's game setup for the mixer had pretty bold dares. After several rounds of punishments, the initially awkward guys and girls were getting much friendlier. I was watching the fun when the king announced number 1 and number 7, French kiss. For 3 minutes, the room erupted in chaos. The room held its breath. I looked down at the plastic card in my hand. A black number 7 stared back at me. I'm number 1, a voice croaked. I looked up. It wasn't Derek. It was James, the one who had hit himself with Emily's hand just to make her feel better 2 weeks ago. The one who had looked at me with the most disgust when I first joined. His face was a mask of conflict. He stole a quick, panicked glance at Emily, who was sitting between him and Derek. Emily's smile had frozen. It wasn't the sweet, supportive smile she usually wore. It was the look of someone watching their kingdom crumble. Well, the king prodded, a senior who clearly loved the drama. Number 1 and number 7. Rules are rules. 3 minutes. Unless you want to take the penalty? 3 back-to-back shots of high-proof vodka. James looked at the bottle, then at Emily, then at me. I didn't say a word. I just sat there, looking small and slightly overwhelmed, my eyes wide and shimmering with a hint of anxiety. I'll drink, Derek snapped, his voice tight. I'll drink for her. Not your turn, Derek, the king laughed. Only the participants can take the penalty. And Sarah is your ex, remember? You don't have a say. The word ex hit the air like a slap. Derek's jaw tightened so hard I thought his teeth might crack. Oh, I'll do it, James said suddenly. The room erupted. I saw Emily's hand tighten around her glass until her knuckles were white. James walked toward the center of the circle, his movements stiff. I stood up slowly, smoothing down my skirt, looking like a lamb led to slaughter. When we met in the middle, James wouldn't look me in the eye. I'm sorry, he whispered, so low only I could hear. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. It's okay, James, I breathed, tilting my head back just enough to show the curve of my neck. It's just a game. I don't want you to get sick from the alcohol. He finally looked at me. Up close, I could see the confusion in his eyes. He expected a scheming girl. He found a girl who seemed genuinely concerned for his well-being. The king started the timer. James leaned in, hesitant. I didn't wait. I reached up, my fingers grazing the nape of his neck, and pulled him down. I wasn't just kissing him. I was performing for an audience of 3. I could feel Derek's burning gaze on my back, and I could practically hear Emily's heart rate accelerating in fury. James stiffened for a second, then he completely melted. His hands, which had been hovering awkwardly at his sides, found my waist and pulled me flush against him. He forgot about the room. He forgot about Emily. He forgot about the hostility he was supposed to feel. When the king finally shouted time, James pulled away, breathless and dazed. He looked like a man who had just seen a ghost, or an angel. I stumbled back slightly, touching my lips with a look of dazed embarrassment. I should go to the restroom, I murmured, and hurried away before anyone could see the triumphant smirk playing on my face. I was washing my hands when the door swung open. It was Emily. Gone was the innocent princess persona. Her face was contorted with a cold, sharp rage. You're pathetic, she spat, slamming the door shut. I looked at her through the mirror, drying my hands calmly. Excuse me. That little act. The tears? Though I'm breaking up for your own good speech? I see through you, Sarah. You're just a social climber trying to tear apart a decade-long friendship. I turned around, leaning against the sink. I didn't cry. I didn't act scared. I just smiled, a slow, predatory smile that made her flinch. Emily, let's be honest, I said, my voice silky. You don't care about friendship. You care about your harem. You love having 3 handsome guys at your beck and call, ruining any chance they have at happiness, so you can remain the center of their universe. But here's the problem, you're predictable. And I'm bored. They'll never choose you, she hissed. They've known me since we were kids. They've known the character you play since you were kids, I corrected. But tonight? James saw a different script. And Derek? Derek is currently realizing that the girl he warned me about is the reason he's sitting alone at a mixer, while his ex-girlfriend is the most desired girl in the room. I walked toward her, leaning in close to her ear. Watch how fast they turn, Emily. It's going to be beautiful. I pushed past her and walked back into the hall. I didn't go back to the game. I went to the balcony. 5 minutes later, the door opened. It was Ryan, the quiet one. The one who had wiped Emily's tears at the pool. Sarah, he called out softly. Are you okay? You left so quickly. I was leaning against the railing, the moonlight hitting me perfectly. I made sure my shoulders were shaking just a little. I'm fine, Ryan. I shouldn't have come. Seeing Derek, and then the game. I feel like I'm causing trouble again. Ryan walked over, standing beside me. You didn't cause anything. James is, Well, he's a mess right now. He's sitting in there not speaking to anyone. He's probably guilty because of Emily, I sighed. She looked so hurt. I never wanted to come between them. Ryan stayed silent for a long moment. You know, she's a lot. We've always protected her, because we thought she was fragile. But lately I've been thinking, maybe she isn't the one who needs protecting. He looked at me, his eyes searching mine. Why did you really break up with Derek, Sarah? Was it really for him? Or was it because we were jerks to you? I looked down, biting my lip. A bit of both. But mostly, because I realized that in your world, there's only room for one girl. And I don't like being an afterthought. Ryan reached out, his hand covering mine on the railing. Maybe the world needs to get bigger. Over the next 2 weeks, I played a dangerous game of available but unattainable. I didn't reach out to Derek. I didn't reply to his 2 a.m. I miss you texts. Instead, I posted photos on social media of me enjoying my life. Art galleries, study sessions with other guys, laughing at cafes. I knew they were all watching. The first to break was James. He accidentally ran into me at the library. He spent 40 minutes helping me carry books, apologizing profusely for the kiss, but his eyes told a different story. He was hooked on the rush I'd given him. The thrill of someone who wasn't Emily. The second was Ryan. He started sending me music recommendations, a quiet bridge between us. Emily, sensing the shift, went into overdrive. She staged a fainting spell during a group dinner. Usually, all 3 guys would have rushed to her side. This time Derek stayed in his seat, staring at his phone, at a photo I had just posted. She's fine, Derek had told the others, his voice laced with a new irritation. She does this every time things aren't about her. The poison I had planted was starting to work. A week later, I invited the group, all of them, to a gallery opening my cousin was hosting. I knew Emily would try to sabotage it. I counted on it. When they arrived, I was the star of the show. I was wearing a backless silk dress that made Derek's eyes turn dark with possessive rage. Sarah, we need to talk, Derek said, cornering me near the bar. There's nothing to talk about, Derek. You made your choice. Emily is the highest place in your heart, remember? I've accepted that. I'm moving on. I was wrong, he whispered, grabbing my arm. I was an idiot. I thought I had to protect her, but seeing you with James, seeing you move on, it's killing me. Right on cue, Emily appeared. She was wearing a white, lacy dress, trying to look like a literal angel. Derek. There you are. My head is spinning again, can we leave? Derek didn't even look at her. Go sit down, Emily. Or call a cab. I'm talking to Sarah. Emily's face went pale. What? But you promised we'd get ice cream after this. I'm not your chauffeur, Emily, Derek snapped. I'm Sarah's boyfriend. Or I want to be. You were, I corrected gently. But right now, I'm just a girl who's tired of the drama. I looked past them to see Ryan and James watching the scene. They weren't rushing to Emily's side anymore. They were looking at her with something akin to pity, and looking at me with longing. The climax came at the university's winter ball. It was the biggest event of the year. Emily had spent the week telling everyone that Derek was taking her as his best friend, and that they were finally getting rid of the outsider. She was trying to manifest her victory. I showed up alone. Or so it seemed. I wore a gown of shimmering midnight blue. I looked like the opposite of Emily's pure white facade. Halfway through the night, a video began to play on the large screens. A tribute to the graduating seniors. I had spent a lot of time helping the tech committee with the files. Suddenly, the music glitched. The screen changed. It wasn't a tribute. It was a recording. It was audio from the restroom at the mixer, the conversation Emily and I had. You don't care about friendship. You care about your harem. You love having 3 handsome guys at your beck and call. My voice rang out. Then Emily's voice, sharp and venomous, filled the ballroom. They'll never choose you. I've made sure every girl Derek ever liked felt like garbage until they left. I own them, Sarah. I've owned them since we were 5. The silence in the ballroom was deafening. Emily, who was standing in the center of the dance floor in Derek's arms, froze. The 3 guys, Derek, Ryan, and James, all looked at the screen, then at the girl they had spent their lives protecting. The mask didn't just crack, it shattered into a million pieces. Emily scrambled for words. That's edited. She set me up. Derek, you know me. Derek let go of her, as if she were made of acid. He looked at Ryan and James. The realization on their faces was identical. They remembered the ex-girlfriends who just didn't fit in. They remembered the accidents, and the tears that always happened when they got too close to someone else. You said you wanted us to be happy, Ryan said, his voice trembling with a quiet, deep anger. You said you were rooting for us. I was. Emily sobbed, but the tears didn't work anymore. The expert radar I had was now shared by the whole room. I walked onto the dance floor, moving through the crowd like a queen. I stopped in front of the 4 of them. I told you, Emily. I whispered, loud enough for the guys to hear. The pot shouldn't call the kettle black. I turned to Derek, James, and Ryan. They were all looking at me, waiting for me to choose one of them, waiting for me to be the new princess. I smiled at them, a genuine, beautiful smile. You guys were right about one thing, I said. Emily really did hold a special place in your lives. She taught you exactly how to let a girl manipulate you. Sarah. Derek reached out. I'm so sorry. Let me make it up to you. No thanks, I said, stepping back. I didn't do this because I wanted a boyfriend. I did this because I hate bullies who hide behind innocence. You three? You're not the prizes you think you are. You're just the victims who let it happen. I turned my back on all four of them. As I walked out of the ballroom, I could hear Emily screaming, a raw, ugly sound, and the three guys arguing with each other, their perfect group finally turning into the wreckage it was always meant to be. I stepped out into the cold night air, took a deep breath, and deleted the last of their numbers. Stealing the spotlight was easy, but walking away with it, that was the real art. I heard through the grapevine that the group had completely disbanded. Derek dropped out of the social circle entirely, unable to face the embarrassment. James and Ryan stopped speaking to each other, both blaming the other for letting Emily get away with her lies for so long. And Emily? She tried to find a new group of guys. But the recording had gone viral. Every time she tried to play the innocent victim, someone would whisper, I own them. As for me, I'm currently at a beach in Bali. There's a guy here, a local architect. He doesn't have a childhood best friend. He doesn't have a group of guys who need a princess to protect. He just has me. And for now, that's more than enough. Chapter